Hello everybody and welcome to the deck tech video for the Alice versus Aimul weird match.
Weird.
It got weird because I hit 4 magic stones of Moonshade and he didn't see his Jupiters.
Yeah. Yeah, this deck's like a combo deck. I didn't see my pieces.
Oh my god. But
like I kind of did it in the first round, but
yeah. Alright, so I'll start with Alice. By the way, for any of you who have no idea what this card is, or you have the original Alice fairy card, the Alice Girl of the Lake, and you're like, what? This is the Ascendant ruler that they did for an Ascension campaign where you basically sent in your ruler as well as a bunch of other cards, and they sent you back the Ascendant improved version. Turns out, the Ascended rulers that they gave you were not that great. But they had Energize, which is a big key factor.
yeah.
Anyway, she judgments for 7. You may pay 1 less to play this ability for each fairy you control. She also has, this card gains Alice Girl of the Lake in addition to its other names, just in case there's interaction based off her name. One of the things I would like to point out, I know it's kind of off topic, but the border they put on the Ascended cards is so juicy. I wish they would just use that for super rares.
It's really nice.
But then she flips into Paladin, Alice, Paladin of Unwavering Hope. Such an amazing art comparatively. She's an 11/11, flying. She gains Alice Fairy Queen, which is the other Alice, in addition to its other names. When this card enters your field, recover all fairies you control. That's the deck. Then she has God's Art, Return to Arcadia, 1 white, originally 2 white. J Resonators you control gain +2/+2. And it doesn't end at the end of turn. That's a permanent deck-wide buff. And you search for 1 Excalibur, the Spirit God Sword, and put it in your field. But yeah, God's Art, she's pretty sweet. She's the only one that's kind of usable. The other 2 were Priscia and Allosaurus, and those decks... Well, let me... just tell me the last time you heard of a non-RDE Priscia deck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, the Resonator lineup. It's all fairies with 5 non-fairies. So... Flame Sprite, 1 red. It has swiftness, flying. All the fairies have flying, every single one. So I'm not going to say flying anymore. But it has swiftness and rest. This card deals 100 damage to target resonator for each fairy you control. If you get 2 Flame Sprites, you can basically kill anything in the game as long as you have, like... I mean, you're always going to have a decent number of fairies. But yeah, they're really good for removing and just surprise coming at your face. What were you going to add?
I was going to say, unless they have a board wipe and they kill all your fairies.
Oh, God. Final battle, why?
I think this deck needs that black in it, but we'll go over that when I get to mine.
Yeah. Final battle is like the death of this deck. Like, no one plays... Yeah. That's the reason no one plays fairies anymore. Then I have the newer Fairy of the Lost Isles. Because she is a 1-drop 4/4 fairy, way more powerful than any other fairy in existence beforehand, just because based on the cost to power and toughness, just because power creep. Also, her ability to banish herself and draw a card is pseudo-relevant if your opponent has kill spells and you have free will, but you typically do not have free will up because you want to be dropping fairies every turn. Then we have Water Sprite. When this card enters your field, put the top card of your main deck, or reveal the top card of your main deck. If it's a fairy, you put it in your hand. So she draws you a card basically every time, and it's a fairy.
Unless it's this card that she reveals.
Unless I hit. That makes me sick.
That happened in the gameplay video if you haven't seen it.
It hurts. Then I run Escort of the Fairy King, a fairy with Quickcast. When this card enters your field, target fairy resonator cannot be targeted by spells or abilities your opponent controls until end of turn.
Barrier.
Really good fog. Also, it's a 0/6, so if you need something to survive, it's really useful. And the Quickcast is really good for end of turn shenanigans or comboing with Vivienne, which I'll go over in a little bit. Then I run Moonbreeze Fairy, a 300/200. Really weird. I don't know why they decided to switch that, but hey, whatever. She has Pay 1 Moon. Fairies you control gain +2/+2 until end of turn. Play this ability only once per turn. Really relevant. Buffs your entire board. If you have at least 2 fairies, you're getting 400 extra damage. So, really, really good.
In our gameplay video, I didn't know you can only do that once.
Oh, no. Yeah, some nonsense happened. And then we have the beautiful Battle for Ataractica. Remember when it was gold?
Oh, yeah.
Ew. Midsummer Night's King Oberon. He's supposed to be an elf, but he's a fairy. I don't know. Anyway, 1 green and 1. He also has Quick Cast, and fairies in your hand gain Quick Cast. So... Later in the game, you can drop, at the end of your opponent's turn, you drop Oberon, then drop all your fairies, and then you play a card that I will show in a little bit, Circle of Trust, and it's like your opponent goes, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Just unloading your fairy hand at the end of your opponent's turn is just super useful and super sexy.
Yeah.
Unless you have a handful of useless 2-drops. Then I run Elaine the Fairy. She is 2 white for a 400/400 fairy. She has Awakening. When this card enters your field, search your main deck for a card named Protection of the Fairies. If you let them put it into your hand, then shuffle your main deck. You don't run Protection of the Fairies because it's just god-awful. I think it's like an okay card itself, but it's like a 1 white will free. It's free if you target a fairy. I don't know. It gives like +2/+2 or something. And like fog? I don't know.
I think it gives them like pseudo barrier or something. No, you can you can banish it to cancel a spell, I think.
No. It gives a +2/+2, and then you can banish it to prevent the next damage that would be dealt to target fairy.
That's what it is.
Okay. Elaine has but her more important ability, other fairy J resonators you control gain +200/0. Alice is a fairy on her other side, so she gets buffed from Elaine. Also, a 200 attack buff across your board is amazing. Then I have Vivienne, the key card for this. Special swag brag, I have 4 full art stamps. I'm really proud of it, and I am showing that off. Anyway, she's the greatest fairy of them all. She is a 500/700. She has Rest, put a fairy resonator with total cost 1 or less from your hand into the field. And she also has, whenever a fairy resonator enters your field, fairy J resonators you control gain +2/+2 until end of turn. So, spamming out fairies, sometimes you hold your flame sprites, so after you have your Vivienne, you can wait a turn, and then flame sprite, 400 buff to your board, swing, boom.
Yeah.
Putting the fairy in usually happens at the end of your opponent's turn, just because giving a +2/+2 to your board is kind of nice, but putting a free fairy in and then buffing on your next turn is a lot more useful. She's also a beefy 5/7, so she's the strongest of the fairies. Then I run Useless McUseless, Grimia's Fairy, 500/500 Flying Drain. It's a fairy tale fairy. I thought it would be cool, but every time I saw it, I cringed and cried a little. It's not worth it. I realized because my other fairies, who are more expensive than 1 cost, all do something for me immediately. Whereas this doesn't do squat. So this is being removed. Don't ever use this card. Then we have the only non-resonators in this deck. 4 Circle of Trust. It is 2 white. Search your main deck for up to 2 fairy resonators. Reveal them, put them into your hand. Good for refilling your hand later in the game. Then shuffle your main deck, or all fairy resonators you control gain +4/+4 until end of turn. That's the big buff. You use that for game ending. I had one match against when I originally played this deck during, I think it was the beginning of Grim Cluster, when at the beginning or late Alice, just when Levitain Turbo was really in full swing. I was going against a Turbo. He had all his Gwybers and his Dregs out. Not all of them, but most of them. I played 3 Circle of Trusts and watched as my fairies got blocked by pitiful dragons that died to them. My mental image is when you play a Circle of Trust, all your fairies become Pillarmen. Then I run the one painful card that I never want to see ever, period. Excalibur, the Spirit God Sword. Your J-Roller gains +1/+1 for each resonator you control. Usually you have a lot. Then it has Rest, produce 1 of any color, spend only to play fairy resonators. As a 2 cost, you can typically play it for 2, then put a 1-drop fairy into play, so it gives you decent value as soon as you play it. Then you can banish it and give your J-Roller Imperishable. Why do I only run 1? Because of Alice Goddard. That's the only reason. 41 card deck, deal with it. Whenever I see this, I cry.
Yeah.
Stone base is the 4 fairy stones. You have to reveal a fairy or it enters rested, and then it can produce light, or it can produce 1 of any color to spend only on fairies, or if I spend a white and rested, I can give a fairy +2/+2 until end of turn.
Pretty useful for
Then
fairies.
around 4 Stone of Moonshade, the bane of my existence. You can produce a moon for the Moonbreeze fairies, or you can produce 1 of any color by paying 200 life. Then I run a Magic Stone of Moonlight. If you control it, can produce one of any color that a stone you control could produce, or it can produce a Moonwell. Then I run one Magic Stone of Gusty Skies because you never want to run two Magic Stone of Moonlight because it's a special curse. If you run more than one Magic Stone of Moonlight, you will always hit 2 in a row.
If you're playing original Scheherazade, you can play all 4 of them.
Oh my god! Wait, original Scheherazade?
Yeah. She lets you search through your Magic Stone deck and put one on top.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That she's literally one of 2 rulers that can do it. The other one's Magic Girl Kaguya. Anyway, that's the fairy deck. Tell us about your thing that I hate.
So this is a combo deck. I'll go over the ruler first before I get too into the combo. So the ruler is Princess of Fleeting Hope. She judgments for 2 light will. She has Energize for light or darkness. And then the reason we're running her is because she has an activate ability 0, recover target resonator, plays ability only during your opponent's turn and only once per turn.
So she recovers stuff. You get so much will.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over the J ruler side just because people want to see it. Whoa.
Never gonna flip
her. There's Aimul, Princess of Despair on the other side. She has Flying, Imperishable, and Drain. But she's only a 3/3. When this card enters the field, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you put a non-chant card with total cost 3 or less from among them into the field. You may invert that card, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. This card gets +2/+2 for any inverse entity you control. Never going to do that, because I don't do that strategy. I don't roll that way.
Actually, I can see one scenario where if you're getting completely wally-womped, it's gone to a pseudo late game, and they have a giant resonator. Just a giant resonator doesn't have Pierce.
Just block every turn.
You just block every turn.
Yeah.
And every turn you're flipping, you're getting a 3 cost.
Yeah. So, let's go into why this 0 cost activate ability is so cool. So, Mana Dorks. You can produce 2 will on your opponent's turn with them now, because you can rest them, then recover them with their ability, and rest them again. So with Elvish Priest, he's a 1-drop, 1/4 that has the ability rest, produce green. You can do that twice on your opponent's turn, and produce 2 will for 1 Mana Dork. Same thing with Melfi, except if it's any color, and you can use an Elvish Priest to play a Melfi. So you only need 1.
Special turn 1 play, you play an Elvish Priest, then on your opponent's turn, produce 2 green and play a Melfi. Then on your turn 2, you have 4 will, 5 if you went second.
Yeah. But yeah, Melfi, she's a popular Mana Dork. She's a 1 or 2 cost 3/6. She has Quickcast. When this card enters the field, prevent all damage will be dealt by target J Resonator's turn if you played 2 or more cards this turn. And then she has Produce Any Color. Really good. Really good ramp card. I like her. So the main combo of the deck, go into that, is these 2. Jupiter and Phaley. So the goal is to get your Jupiters out and then make copies of Phaley. So what Jupiter does is he's a 5 cost 10/2 with Quick Cast. When this card enters the field, choose up to 2, cancel target chant spell, or return target resonator to its owner's hand, or rest or recover target resonator, or draw a card. So really useful utility. And then what Phaley does is she's a 3 cost 4/8. She has Will of Hope. That's just a keyword thing for certain rulers. Doesn't matter. She has red, rest. Put a token copy of another target resonator you control into your field. At the next end of turn, that token's controller banishes it. So you can basically just make a bunch of copies of Jupiter, or 2 every turn. And what you do is you do them at the very end of your opponent's turn. So then they stick around on your board. And then you can, fight with them and do all kinds of cool stuff. Because they stick around for a turn longer than they really should. You can also just make copies of Jupiter to cancel your opponent's spells, bounce their stuff, draw cards. It's a good time.
Did you say did you mention the infinite Jupiter thing?
Which one?
Where you play the Jupiter, recover the Phaley, and then play another Jupiter with Phaley.
You can do infinite Jupiters too. Yeah.
Not super infinite, but you can just get a lot of Jupiters.
Yeah. Then we have next big card for this deck is Karura, the Crotangu. There we go.
Karura.
She has Quick Cast, Flying, Barrier, Chant. This card cannot be canceled. She's a 5 cost, 12/12. One of the best resonators in the game. I just put her in here because she has Quick Cast, and you're always playing stuff in your opponent's turn. So there's only 2 of. I might bump that up to 3, just because she's really good. All right, let's get into some of the utility cards now. So we run 4 Tama, classic card. He's a 1-drop 2/2. When this card enters your field, draw a card. Banish this card. This card does 200 damage to target resonator. He's a good boy.
My fairies.
Then I run 3 Lorite. He's a 1 cost, 1/2 with quick cast. When his card enters the field, cancel target activate or automatic ability your opponent controls. Then he also has remove 3 spirit magics in your graveyard from the game. Put this card from your graveyard in your hand. I don't really have any spirit magics, so it's not relevant to this deck. He's just in there because he's kind of necessary. Alright, so next we have let's do the backup win con of the deck. Favors Command. This deck runs a lot of cheap 1-drops and big guys I can cast whenever I want because I have so much ramp. Anyway, that's also why I can cast this. It's a 7-cost chant. Recover all resonators you control. Resonators you control gain +1,000/+1,000 pierce end of turn.
Yep.
So it's
Game ender.
Game ender, basically. Good
Anytime
card.
that resolves, the game is over, except in extreme circumstances.
Yep. So then the deck runs cancel spells. I run 4 of Seal of Wind and Light. It's a quick cast, cancel target spell, Awakening, Moon. Players cannot chase this card. Best cancel spell in the game. Good card.
Yep.
That's actually the only reason this deck's running white.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Then I run 3 Keen Sense. It's a 2-cost chant instant or chant with quick cast. Choose 1, cancel target normal spell, or destroy target card in the chant standby area.
Okay.
Really good cancel spell. I would be running 4 of if I wasn't running white.
In particular, it's good against most normal decks, but this is not a normal.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. It's not good against this deck because he doesn't run any non-creature spells really.
But for a lot of decks, normal spells are the meat.
Then I run 2 of Zeke's, the Ancient Magic. Choose 1. If your J ruler is Crimson Girl in the Sky or Little Red, the True Fairy Tale, choose up to 4. I'm not running her, so I can get to choose 1. Target Resonator cannot be targeted by spells or abilities until end of turn. Or cancel target summon spell. Or Resonators you control gain +2/+2 until end of turn. Or target player shuffles all magic stones from his or her graveyard into his or her magic stone deck, then shuffles all other cards from his or her graveyard into his or her main deck. So it's a very, very powerful utility card. The only card I can cancel his creatures with besides Seal of Wind and Light. But yeah, it's a good card.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, any green deck should run like at least a couple of these.
Yeah, even in the sideboard, because even if you don't use them as a cancel creature, giving your entire board or giving your stuff barrier is really good.
Yeah. Then I run 3 Magic Boomerang. Probably want to up this to 4. It's a really good card. 1 green, quick cast. Choose 1, target Resonator gains flying until end of turn, or return target Resonator you control to its owner's hand, or this card deals 400 damage to target Resonator. So it's protection, reach, and killing your opponents with 1-drops, basically.
Yeah.
It's a really good card.
I feel like how green has all these cards that do 4 or 5 different things.
Yeah. And then I run 2 of Elemental Blast. It's a non-quick cast, the only thing I don't like about it. This card deals 400 damage to target Resonator, Torrent. So if you played 2 or more cards that turn, this card deals 700 damage instead.
Probably the last card that will ever be printed with Torrent.
Yeah. I like it. I think it's decent enough. It's no True Blade of the Spirits, though.
Yeah. If you had True Blade of Spirits, I would just be done.
Yeah. Alright, so let's go over the stones real quick. I run 4 of Magic Stone of Gusting Skies, produce light or green. Good one. Because I'm running, I use it mostly just for this card. Only for that card.
Yeah.
Then I run 4 of Magic Stone of Blasting Waves, produce green or red. I need the red for Faylee, because she's red.
Yes.
And then I run 2 of Magic Stone of Summer's Breeze. When this card enters your field, put 2 magic counters on this card. Rest, produce red. Rest, remove a magic counter from this card, produce green. So it's basically a red-green stone. I don't like these, but you have to run them.
Remember the pain of hitting one of those in a Prisia deck?
Yeah, it was the worst. Anyway, yeah, those are our decks. Let us know what you think of them in the comments below. Any improvements you'd make, if you want to run them. If you like what we do, please consider helping support the channel by buying us a coffee.
Yep.
If you want to see more of what we do, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I actually have one last thing to add.
One last thing.
I know we don't usually get a lot of comments on videos, but I would really like to see anybody, whoever, just give us 2 decks, and we will build them as best we can and play them. I want to do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so if you have any decks that you would want us to play, just send them to us.
Yeah, either link the gacha logs in the comments or get in contact with us through some other means. But I I don't know. It'd really be cool to just grab this deck that I have no idea what to do with.
Yeah.
And play it. But anyway, thank you all for watching.
Yeah.
And
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.